What is up, art fiends? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are jumping into part 3 of my Danganronpa OC redesign series. If you have not seen the other 2 videos in this series, please go and start from episode 1. It is very important you do so because in episode 1 I give a whole spiel about what this series is and what I am doing, as well as some information on my history with the Danganronpa games. So please click the card above and head on over to part 1 first, and then watch part 2, and then you can come on back to part 3. It'll be here for you when you're done with that. So, like the other 2 videos, we are going to be looking at 4 more characters that I redesigned. Like before, I will be looking at the old drawing and then sketching them in my own style, and then I will be creating a talk sprite in the art style of Danganronpa so that they look more like they belong in this universe. So, not much more intro is needed. Let's just hop into the first character of this video and get to redesigning, shall we? Okay, so first up we have the ultimate gardener. Her name is Heloise Renoir. She is French. Her original character was very sweet and peppy. As a gardener, she really likes to take care of flowers and let things grow. So she's a very nice, caring, kind person. Again, I noticed that my hair drawing abilities were not the best when I did the original drawings. So I'm looking forward to giving her hair quite an update. I believe I was trying to give her this very messy hair, but I failed to do so. It seems more like it's just kind of straight with all these weird bits coming out, so I'm definitely going to update her hairstyle. Her clothes had a good starting point. I like the cute puffy dress. I definitely think her outfit was inspired by Sonia, which is why I'm actually going to be using Sonia as my base for her sprite design. I also think Sonia's standard talk sprite will fit Heloise's personality really well. She looks kind of sweet and nice in that standard pose. So let's hop on into this sketch. First off, in my design, I really kind of like the idea of making her a little chubbier, so that was a direction I went through. Although in the talk sprite version, it doesn't really come out that way. I do actually end up widening the waist that Sonia has, because Sonia's waist is very, very thin. So in my sketching of the sprite, I widen the waist a bit. I also thought of adding little hints of flowers in Heloise would be really nice and a callback to her ultimate. So I decided that instead of just a plain clip in her hair, it would be a little flower brooch and also have a little bit of a flower on the tie on her dress. The rest of it though, I kept that very cute puffy dress since it was very specific to her. No other character I had this kind of outfit, so I just spruced it up a bit so it didn't look so plain. Her hair got that major upgrade. It's very messy and still long, but it's more of this curly messy hair and less so this weird jagged straight hair that I had before. I really like this too. If she's out with flowers a lot, I feel like she's kind of part of nature, so she has very roughed up hair. So for colors, I really wanted to stick with the greens since that was her color, but I thought I could add it in other places for her. And her original hair color was just black, and I used just like a straight black. So I thought it would be a cool idea if instead of black, I went for this dark green. So it fits with her whole nature theme, and it also differentiates her from my other characters who have black hair, because it's a very common hair color that I seem to use. And I also think it looks really cute on her, and it also makes her blue eyes pop a lot too. For her dress, I kept that light green. I just kind of softened it a little bit, and then I added more brighter green into her, and I also added a bright green for her bow and kept the white accents from her outfit. But I also threw in some pink on her. It's a very, very soft pink and a little bit of yellow as well, and it's just a little bit of a accent color on her design, and it also represents the flowers. And then after that was the shading, and then it was adding a texture over it, and that's it. This is Heloise's new design. Okay, let's go on to the second character for this video. So here we are looking at the ultimate comedian. His name is Aiden Elliott, and he is Scottish. So he was actually one of the partner characters, kind of like Togami, Komaeda, and Kaito are. The character who you kind of talk to a lot as the protagonist and who kind of helps you out the most during all the investigations. He is kind of a trickster. He was definitely inspired by Komaeda, personality-wise at least. Not so much psychotic as Komaeda is, but more of like Komaeda's trickstery kind of personality that he has. I always thought of him as being like purposefully vague, where He was definitely smarter than he let on, but he hid everything under comedy and just everything was a joke for him, including the murders. And since you would play as the actor, him and the actor kind of play off each other a lot, while Haruto is kind of like this more serious actor, and then Aiden is the jokester comedian. They both hate each other and are good friends. You know, they play off each other pretty well. So Aiden's original design was definitely Komaeda inspired, with the sweatshirt and just the basic shirt underneath. His colors are just so bright, so we're definitely going to change the green of his jacket. And his hair, once again, is just very weird looking. Don't know why, I just couldn't draw hair back then. So we're going to upgrade his hair a bit as well. First up was the sketch. For the hair, I did want to keep it kind of long, where it's going past his ears, and I kind of kept the same bang length, but I believe the interpretation I have now is kind of just what his hair was supposed to be back then, just better. For the rest of him, I do want to keep that sweatshirt, since it is a unique thing for him, but I thought we could push this a little more, and I decided to give him also a jacket, so a jacket and a sweatshirt underneath that. This way, he's not copying Komaeda like beat per beat. I wanted to make sure his outfit was somewhat different. I actually, after sketching it, decided that I would rather it be an open jacket, so it's a jacket and then a sweatshirt and then a t-shirt that you can actually see underneath, so it's 3 layers that are visible. I do spend a bit deciding on his colors. His original color was brown, but there really wasn't any brown in his original design, so I didn't feel like I had to stick with a brown somewhere. I also realized his skin and hair color were just not working really well, and again, his skin was very pale and sickly looking. I seem to have had that problem a lot in my old drawings. I would always pick the weirdest skin color for some reason. So I definitely want to give more life to his skin by making it a bit more saturated. But for his hair, since he's Scottish, I decided to kind of give it a bit of a red tint. So it's more of like a strawberry blonde now than a just straight blonde. Otherwise, for his jacket, I just went with a black since that was his pant color, so I wanted to throw it in somewhere. And his jacket I kept green, but I made it a much nicer green to look at. I also decided to create a completely random pattern and throw it on his shirt. A lot of Danganronpa characters have just like weird designs on them for no explained reason. Like there's no meaning behind some of the designs on these characters' shirts and stuff. So I figured I might as well put something on that blank space, and I just put a random design that's just in a very light green so it matches to his green sweatshirt. So then it was shading. Again, looking at the sprite I had as a little reference to see where the shadows would be. And then I added the texture. And that's it. That is Aiden's new design. Alright, time for the third character of this video. So, we are going to be updating the design for the ultimate pirate. Now, I'm pretty sure I was thinking like old school pirate, but also more of a modern pirate. So she has the look and the attitude as if she is an old school pirate, but she is South African, so I think she also had some modern influence as well. I'm pretty sure I never specify what type of pirate she is. She kind of fills the role of the outlaw, like Fuyuhiko is a gangster, like that kind of role. So I don't think the specifics of the type of pirate she is really mattered, but it does play a big role in the outfit that I decided to give her. So her name is Lifu Groenwald, and looking at her design, it's a very odd, a lot of anatomy issues on this drawing, but that's a different thing. I can totally see where I was going with this, but I think my lack of understanding of fashion and how clothes work really hindered the levels that I could have pushed this design back then. I think I was trying to give her this kind of pirate look with the bandana, but then her dress just doesn't really fit with that idea at all. Her colors are all over the place. That bright purple, and then her blue hair, and then the bright blue dress. You know, it's just a lot happening on her design. So I'm for sure going to be doing a lot to change her. And again, her hair, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what length this is. I don't know what direction it's supposed to be. There's a lot of stuff going on with this old design that I'm gonna do a lot of fixing of. So her personality was always this spunky attitude kind of girl. Again, emulating kind of the old time pirates in her personality a lot. So she would speak with a purposeful fake accent to try and sound more like a pirate. So she was supposed to be very short in her original design, but I'm actually going to be changing that. I thought that it would make her too similar to Takia, who was a character I made in the last video, who was also this very loud, outspoken girl. And Takia is very short. So in this design for Lifu, I decided to grow her a bit, you know, make her taller, make her more of this badass pirate lady than this little short, spunky shark girl. So when it came to update her design, I wanted to keep some elements from the original. I added that bandana again, but I made it so that the tie-off was much longer in the back. And her hair, I actually gave a direction, and I decided to also make it pretty messy. I think her original design was trying to call back to sharks, so I wanted to emulate shark in her a little bit more than I did in the original. So giving her the big spiky hair, for sure calls back to kind of like shark teeth and danger. So for her outfit, I'm actually gonna pretty much nix the dress and push more into this pirate look. So I'm giving her this longer sleeved shirt up top that's kind of like a blouse like they used to wear, and then I'm going to be giving her a long skirt and another tie around her waist, and that is to call back to her headwear so that there is something that matches in both places so that the headdress doesn't just seem completely random. So the sprite I will be using is going to be Ibuki's. I think Ibuki's personality is exactly what I want for Lifu's. I think she's a little less dumb than Ibuki is, but she has the same energy that Ibuki puts off. So thought it would be a perfect character to go with. So I did a lot of changing from the original sprite, you'll notice, because my outfit is so different than Ibuki's outfit. Not only is the hair different, and I also had that bandana on top, I then also had a very different shirt and skirt combo thing going on. I also really wanted to play up the exaggeration of some of the outfit, so I made the back of the bandana coming down really exaggerated so you could see it. I've noticed there's a few moments in a lot of Danganronpa designs where there's gravity-defying bits for no explained reason, and I kind of wanted to use that as well here. I also decided to add a pattern that is all throughout the different bandana and waist wrapping parts, and I decided to go with a diamond since diamonds have sharp edges, kind of like I was going for with the shark idea, and I thought it would just be a shape that she could have that calls back a little bit to the circles that used to be on her bandana in the old version, but now they're diamonds, so they're sharper than they were before. So colors, I am trying to stick close to the original with blue as the base for her color scheme. Her skin and her hair colors stay very close to the original. I just give it more saturation because, again, my old colors were just so desaturated. So I gave her a little bit more life in her colors. In order to not make that purple, that bandana, so bright and annoying, I decided to go with a much darker purple, one that's also kind of more blue, and it's also not so saturated, so it's not so in your face. I then took that white from her dress and I made it her shirt, since that's a very common color that the blouses they used to wear are. It's just a white. And then I brought more blue back into her skirt, which is kind of more just a normal schoolgirl skirt, since she is also just a student, but she's kind of accessorized herself in a way that makes her less of a generic anime schoolgirl kind of look. And for the pattern, I went for a lighter blue, so it pops really well on the dark purple, and it also calls back to the light blue of her old dress. I also added a necklace around her because I thought giving her a lot of jewelry would be a great idea because probably flaunts her money all the time. Then it was just a shade, again, try to match the shading patterns as the sprites have, and then I threw a texture over the whole thing, and that makes Lifu's new design. Okay, it is time for the last character of this video. So, the one we will be looking at is the ultimate fisherman. I believe I didn't really do much with this character. He was kind of just like there to fill a space because you needed 16 students, so he just kind of was there. He didn't get a lot of personality or development, kind of like all the other characters had, but I cannot leave him out of the redesigns, no matter how little of an importance he played in my original idea for this story. So his name is Yuto Kimura. He is Japanese. So I believe the reason I decided to make him Japanese as the ultimate fisherman was because of that one video of that Japanese fisherman who's just yelling at you to not give up and to believe in yourself. 必ず目標達成できる。だからこそ Never give up! So the idea of Fisherman and being Japanese, it fit really well. Looking at the old design for Yuto, I know exactly what I was going for. I wanted him to be fat, but I had zero capabilities of drawing people with more than one body type. If I attempted to draw somebody larger than all my other characters, they just look skinny, but with like weird lines for the bodies. There's no fat on their bodies at all. And obviously, you know, now I can draw different body types, but as a beginning artist, this is very common. So if you're someone who's struggling with drawing more than one body type and you're very new to art, do not be discouraged by people who are yelling at you, who are like, why do you only draw skinny characters? Because you've just begun drawing. No one should expect you to know how to draw literally every single possible version or thing that exists in the world when you've only been drawing for a couple years. So I'm not gonna knock my younger self for not knowing how to draw different body types. I obviously just needed more experience and more education, and now I can draw different body types. So education is worth it. So tangent aside, since I knew I wanted Yuto to be on the larger side, I wanted to pick a larger character to base my sprite off of. Unfortunately, in Danganronpa, there are not that many characters with different body types, and those who do have different body types are extremely obvious as to their differences. So I had a very few amount of choices for who I could base him off of. I did not want him to be short, so I couldn't pick those little short chubby characters from SDR2 and D3. Instead, I went with Hifumi. I don't like Hifumi, but he had the exact body type that I wanted for Yuto. So first off was redesigning him. I stuck with his closed eye thing. Really don't know why I did that, but you know, it's staying. But I also then had to figure out a way to make his hair different than Hifumi's. Like I could tell how much Hifumi's design inspired my original for Yuto. So I decided to give him this little cowlick that's coming up instead of something that's coming down. For his outfit, the original design was just like a jacket and a shirt underneath. It didn't really say Fisherman. So I decided to give him overalls to make him look a little bit more like he is a fisherman, since fishermen tend to wear these kind of big overalls. So then it was sprite time. A lot of the sprite was exactly like Yuto's. I did do a lot of playing with the face because I did not want that weird rabbit mouth that Hifumi has. I just wanted a normal little smile because Yuto was very much just like a quiet, nice character. He didn't talk like ever, and if he did, it was very short sentences and a few words, but he was a very nice person. So I did not want to use any of the energy that Hifumi was exuding in designing Yuto's sprite for sure. So I drew in his overalls and a little t-shirt underneath. There's definitely something odd about the way Hifumi was drawn, especially when you take his backpack straps out. It's just a little weird. So there is something a little weird about Yuto's sprite, but you know what? That's okay. I think it's the best I'm gonna get. So for colors, his original color was this light brown, because I'm pretty sure that's the color his pants were. And I thought I could just stick with that color and make it his overalls, since it is a pretty obvious color for a fisherman to be wearing. There's nothing very weird about it. And I just gave him a white t-shirt underneath with a little bit of a pattern to call back to his white jacket from the old one. And he's also a black-haired character, so again, another reason why I wanted to have a few more characters who didn't have black hair. But for him, since he was very much supposed to be just your average everyday guy, he wasn't supposed to look super anime or weird, I decided giving him black hair still would work because it's just a normal hair color. So then it was into the shading and then adding that texture over it, and that is it. That is Yuto's new design. Well, that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me once again in this series. I do hope you are all enjoying it. I know it's a little weird that I'm not drawing it in my style for the final, but I really like that I decided to do it in the Danganronpa art style, since that is exactly what I'm trying to emulate. If you're enjoying this, I have some other videos where I do art stuff. Ones where I finish drawing in my own style from start to finish, so you can see my art process normally. This is a little weird from what I really usually do. I have links in the description to all my social media, so you can message me there, and I also have a link to my online store as well. I do have some Danganronpa stuff if that interests you. I also have a Discord that is also linked down below, where you can come and just hang out and talk to me and share some of your art. It's a cool community. We'd love to have you. Well, that's gonna be it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things that the YouTubers say. Peace!